Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am extremely excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And I'm going to say this one's actually pretty special because it was inspired by a recent outing I had. I was really stoked about this. So let me give you the backstory. But first off, this is not pre-recorded. So this is actually a build that I did quite recently, like in the month of October. Not quite sure when it's going up on the channel, but like I didn't pre-record it as part of my maternity leave. So for those who don't know, I am currently still on maternity leave because I had my first baby and I pre-recorded a ton of videos for all of you to watch while I am away, quote unquote away. And when I've had some free time, I've been able to dive into some more builds. So you may already start recognizing this build a little bit. You might be like, why does this look kind of familiar? At least I hope. I hope it's like reminiscent enough that you kind of recognize it. But recently I actually went and saw the Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons. Yes, it was so cute. It was so cute. It was so good. I loved it so much. I had actually bought tickets for my sister-in-law last Christmas, I think it was. And I'm not kidding, it was maybe a couple of weeks before the show. She was like, wait a minute, isn't that coming up at some point? And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, it is. I forgot that I got you tickets to that ages ago because it was literally almost a year away by the time that we ended up going. And it was so fun because Stardew Valley is her favorite game. So I thought it was such a cool experience for both of us to have together, especially because I also love Stardew Valley, though she has reached perfection in that game multiple times. I have not. But yeah, it was super fun. I loved it. I have gone to the symphony before. I don't know if I know I've mentioned this, but like my favorite band is Hanson. Yes, like Mbop. I love Hanson. Listen, if you haven't gone and like heard their new stuff recently, even in the past like 20 years, I highly recommend. But they actually did an entire tour and album called String Theory, and they basically wove together a narrative with songs they've, of course, already released and written, and it was beautiful. I loved it so much, and I don't think I've actually just gone to see an orchestra before in that capacity, but String Theory was super fun to see. Hanson, of course, my favorite band. But then this was also super cute. Like the orchestra was fantastic and they had like visuals from the game and everything playing in the background. And it still kind of wove the narrative together of the story of Stardew Valley. And there was a lot of the conductor, like he was so charismatic. This guy was fantastic. And there were kind of like intermissions, not like a full intermission. There was one of those, but like there were little tiny stops kind of in the orchestral music and whatnot. And he would help weave the narrative together a little bit more, and he was just so engaging. It made the entire experience so much fun. I really loved it, and I believe my sister-in-law had a great time too. So long story short, I was like, I've wanted to do this for a long time and I just never committed to it. I'm gonna build a Stardew Valley inspired farm, and that is what we're doing here. We're doing it in what is that new world called? This is embarrassing. This was the new expansion pack. Gibbi Point. Thank you so much. Yes, that's what I meant. Yep, Gibbi Point. And we're building on a 64 by 64. I have not done a lot this big in ages. When did I even last do a 64 by 64? It had to have been maybe when Cottage Living came out? No, Horse Ranch. There's a 64 by, or is that 50 by 50? I don't even remember. There's a big lot in Chestnut Ridge that I did when that pack came out, but I think that's the last time I've done something this large. It was very intimidating. That's typically the reason why I stay away from lots this big. They're so intimidating. There's so much space to fill, and I'm a clutter fiend, so like trying to fill in every square inch of this lot and make it seem full but also realistic, this was an undertaking. This was a lot, but I did do it in a couple of days because I was so excited to bring the Stardew Valley farm to life. So you can see that the house, hopefully it's reminiscent of like the fully upgraded grandpa's cabin, because that was kind of my goal. And then we've got these little like garden patches, of course, with our scarecrows, because if you don't have those and you have a huge garden, you're gonna regret it in Stardew Valley. I didn't add any sprinklers. That's kind of a complete miss on my end, because you do have sprinklers not only in Stardew Valley, but when you use them in The Sims 4, if you place the season sprinklers amongst your garden patches, it will actually garden your crops. Oh my god, it'll water your crops. So I should have done that. I didn't do that. So I would recommend adding those if you do use all of those gardening pots, because there's a lot. there's a lot going on. And I didn't try to make it like exact. Okay, so I didn't add all of like the entry and exit points, if you will, from kind of that main farm area. I added like 2 or 3 of them perhaps, and I didn't build like the little cave and stuff that you can go in if you don't know what I'm talking about. I thought it was so clever. I'll talk about it a little bit more when we get there, but it's a debug item from werewolves that I used to make the cave. I thought it was actually super cute. I was very proud of this. I was like, we have cave quote unquote items in the Sims. I'm gonna find one and I'm gonna use that instead of trying to like dig in using terrain tools or something, because that would just be a pain, and I really didn't want to do that, so I didn't. But yeah, we've got the 2 gardening patches here, and then we have 2 little areas for chickens. Now, of course, in Stardew Valley, you do have, I think it's a shed or like the chicken coop or whatnot. It's a building you can actually go into, but obviously in The Sims, we have these little chicken coops, so I decided to give them their own little fenced-in areas, and I think I locked all of the gates for the chickens to keep them contained here for when I uploaded this to the gallery, because I think those kinds of things will carry through. If not, I apologize, but I did that so I could keep track of all the freaking chickens, because when I was trying to playtest this, I actually made the mistake. All right, so let's actually first review the animals that you can have in The Sims 4 that would be applicable to this, right? You can have chickens, you can have horses. There is 1 stable for the horse, because you can have a horse in Stardew Valley, and I only added 1 animal shed, which is how you can get a llama or a cow. I picked a cow. I don't recall if you can actually get llamas in Stardew Valley, but I know you can get sheep. So I decided to go with the cow because I thought that would be the most realistic and most authentic to the game. And then I also added a stump for the wild rabbits because I thought that would be fun, as well as the little tree for the wild birds from Cottage Living. And then I also had my sim get, which this was my error, because trying to feed and take care of this many animals is nuts. I got like 10 goats and sheep for my sim, which will not of course carry through to the gallery because those are items that your sims have like in their inventory. You just got like 10 goats in your pocket, you know, makes perfect sense. Yeah, so I did that, and then I also added 2 food bowl dishes inside of the cabinet itself. So if your sims want to have a dog or a cat or both, or 2 cats and 2 dogs, whatever you want, because I think you can only pick 1. I always go with the cat because I'm definitely a cat lady. But I think you could pick like either the dog or the cat at some point very early on in Stardew Valley when you start playing. I haven't played in a long time now, which is kind of embarrassing. I really worked up my farm. I think the farthest I've gotten in Stardew Valley is like year 2. Like fall year 2 or something, which is not far. I have not gotten far in the game, but like the grind is real with that game. Like it is a commitment, and I'm very wealthy, married to Harvey, my one and only love, and we have 2 children in Stardew Valley. Okay, it's great. I love it. It's absolutely wonderful, but I haven't picked it up in a long time now, so I definitely have to do that at some point. But yeah, I feel like I should I really need to get back into it. Like I haven't picked it up in so long because, let's see, I have started a farm, or multiple farms I should say, on the PC version of the game that I have, but then I also have Stardew Valley on my Switch, and I think that is where I've made the most progress, to be completely frank. I think it's been on the Switch compared to PC, because my sister-in-law and like my husband and my brother-in-law, it's actually super fun. We used to do this all the time, but we used to play Stardew Valley all the time. We had our own farm with all 4 of us, and it was a blast. But I've made the most progress on my Switch, and I haven't picked up the Switch in a really long time now. I can't remember. But you saw me stalling a little bit there. I was probably distracted, 1, by my infant. that was a very high possibility. But also I was trying to figure out the rest of the layout for this lot because it's huge. I really didn't know how to fill it. So I added a pond because usually the map that I choose when I play Stardew Valley, or maybe they all have this, I don't know. There are so many different like starting maps, I suppose. Like you could have like a lake, and there's pros and cons to the different maps you choose. It's great if you haven't played Stardew Valley. Highly recommend, but it's great. So yeah, I think I added the pond here because I thought, yeah, we want a body of water, and I add the fishing sign, so fishing allowed, and it was a fully stocked pond, so your sims can also go fishing. And then of course the infamous greenhouse that I add here, and I thought this was super clever. I'm sure I'm not the only person to have thought of doing this, but we do have the greenhouse haven kit, and that's great for these windows and the doors that I use in particular, but trying to get like a higher roof pitch for a greenhouse is tough because we do have this roof pattern, I guess you could say, like this roof quote unquote tile from the greenhouse haven kit. But then, oh, and that's the thing, wait, hold on. That's the thing I used for the werewolves pack. Look at me go. Yeah, that's the little cave. I thought it was clever. Anyway, so I use those Moschino stuff pack windows because we have kind of like that, I can't even say like roof decoration from the Greenhouse Haven kit, and your roof pitch has to be really, really low, and the roof pitch in Stardew Valley is high and kind of rounded. So I thought this worked. It might look a little bit funny. Like, to me, it kind of looks funny, but I also think it looks nice. I don't know. You'll have to let me know what you think. But here's me kind of creating a little stairway off into essentially one of the other areas of the map. If you play Stardew Valley, that's where that kind of leads. And then I'm trying to just figure out how to separate all of the space here, because it was so big. I didn't know what to do. And this right here, the one on the right, ends up being where I put the animal shed. So that's where the cow ends up being. And then I don't think I keep the other one where it is. I think I fence in a little bit of the greenhouse, and I've kind of add a few more things there. It just made the most sense, because then I remembered, you know, when I play, I actually like letting a lot of the grass get, I think, you know, a little wild, I should say. And I love harvesting it, so it'll go in my silo so I can make grain and all that fun stuff. So, and your cows can graze too, right? That's the whole point. So this kind of area between these two fenced in areas right near the pond, I just add a ton of quote unquote grass, or what will be hay, I guess, for the cow to, in air quotes, graze. And I thought that that was actually really nice. It was a nice way to fill in the space. So I just do this. This is what I do. I thought it actually kind of looked pretty nice too, to be frank. I enjoyed it. It filled in the space. It still looked, in my opinion, pretty natural. So I tried to make it kind of blend and get cut off there before it was near like the green grass. I added a ton more trees. Like, I added a ton of trees to kind of block in this lot too. It just made the most sense. I also add some prairie grass, again specific to The Sims 4, and that is for the horses to be able to eat the prairie grass instead of just hay. I did add it in this closed in area with the cow, but it just made the most sense there, okay? I don't know. Also, the silo is empty, if you're wondering. There's nothing in the silo, but I just added it there as a decorative piece to this lot, because you can't really add anything to a silo like that that would be of value in The Sims 4. I also add a bench near this pond so your sim can sit there and just kind of relax as well. But again, there is a fully stocked fishing sign too, so your sims can fish. I added little lightning bugs as well to the pond, so at night it lights up. It looks so pretty and calming and relaxing, and I love it. And even though this is built in Gibbi Point, you of course don't have to place it there. You could probably place it in Henford on Bagley and it would look great. You might be able to place it in Chestnut Ridge and it looks okay. You know, I don't know. It does include adventurer weights, so you do need the pack to have a lot of the items that are in the interior in particular, but you don't have to place it in Gibbi Point. I was just excited to build here because at the time of me doing this, we had just gotten that pack, so that's why I did it. Also, I won't harp on this too much, but because a lot of my builds have been pre-recorded, I haven't had an opportunity to actually vocalize and acknowledge via a video the pending EA acquisition. I'm not going to harp on this. I've already posted a ton of stuff over on the post tab about like things I'm learning about it. Because look, this isn't my wheelhouse. I do play games outside of The Sims, but I am not that immersed in like the gaming industry either. So it's been a huge learning curve for me to kind of understand what this all means, what the impact could be, all that fun stuff. And I've expressed my concerns with what is pending, and I have gotten a few comments. And this isn't, I'm not trying to sound like snide or anything, I promise you. It's just I've gotten a few comments of people being like, are you going to say a little bit more about this? Like, are you going to take action? And yes, I am. I am just not quite ready to not ready to not make that next step, whatever that is, but I am trying to just assess everything to the best of my ability and make the decision that works best for me and for you all, for my community too, because it's really important. So yeah, if you haven't checked out my post tab, I would definitely recommend it because I post updates about things that are kind of happening with the acquisition, but I also have expressed my feelings, very heartfelt feelings, I'm going to be honest with you. It's been a little bit distressing to kind of see where things might be headed, but I've posted my feelings about this, and pretty soon I'm probably going to have a more solid idea of what I'm going to be doing moving forward, so just extend some grace to me, bear with me a little bit here, because I am just trying to figure this out, as we all are. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's a Sims 4 content creator who is like, so now what? You know, now what? It's a fair question, I think. Now what? But anyway, I just wanted to make sure I acknowledge that before I don't know, but before too much time had passed. I wanted to vocalize it in a video as well, but I added a grill out here, a picnic table. I also added more gardening pots, and I added the barrels for the horse because I wanted there to be some more functional things for the horses. I would say maybe add like a ball too, or swap out the barrels with the jumping posts if you want to do that instead. But I wanted some applicability as well and some playability, though there's of course tons of stuff to play in on this lot. But I added a fire pit over here. I do add a bee box, I think, near the greenhouse, and then I think there's the like bug house as well for like grubs and crickets and stuff like that you can farm from Eco Lifestyle over where the grill is and the picnic table. So there are a couple things there. I didn't add a ton of them because let me tell you, trying to nurture grubs when I was doing like Eco Lifestyle gameplay, man, that took so much time for your freaking Sims. Like you have to spend hours doing that. It's nuts. It is not conducive to do that. I don't know if the payoff is really there, to be frank, but I only added one of each, and there's like one little beehive too. So I thought that was nice. And then in here in the greenhouse, though I would put different things in Stardew Valley in the greenhouse. Like I'd probably have like jam and stuff being made in barrels, you know what I mean? But I did add a ton of vertical planters here. We also have the flower arranging station. We have the handiness workbench, and I think a few other indoor gardening pots as well. So you can grow things year round. You know, that's kind of the whole point, right? So you could probably do like your seasonal crops out there, just like in Stardew Valley. And then you could have some stuff in here that would be perfect to actually harvest year round. So you can still keep those simoleons running through. And I also discovered, I didn't even know this, I probably should have assumed, but there is a Stardew Valley challenge in The Sims as well, which I thought was super, super cool. If you guys haven't heard of it, I would definitely check it out. This would probably be more so when you're established in that challenge, because this is like a full-blown upgraded farm. There is a particular lot, I think, that the creator made to kind of start things off, or you could of course make your own too, but it's essentially your starter little cabin that is very reminiscent of the one that you would have when you start with Stardew Valley as well. And the challenge actually looks pretty fun. I was considering playing it off camera myself because I think that would be an enjoyable thing for me to do, because sadly, as I announced probably like a month or two ago at this point, I'm not doing the 100 baby challenge anymore. I'm not doing it. I hate to say this, but like the viewership just like wasn't there, and I loved I'm still playing it on my downtime. I'm currently actively doing it. I don't even know how many babies I'm up to, but I'm actively playing it. It's just to actually record it and edit it, it really took a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time to spare at the moment, so I had to cut it short. I said I would share updates in the future, and hopefully I can do that, but yeah, so if you were wondering if I was going to do the Stardew Valley challenge on my channel, that is not going to happen. I'm so sorry. But now we're on to the interior as well, and the house ended up being a lot bigger than I thought. Yeah, it was a lot bigger than I thought. I think this ends up being I want to say a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, I think, which doesn't sound big, but there is the basement, because we all know that's where the money's at. You gotta have the cellar, the basement, so you can actually age all of your wines and things, because that's how you're gonna make a lot of money in Stardew Valley. So we do have a basement, but we've got the living room here, the kitchen. We have like a little den area, I guess I'll call it, because there's like a standing piano and a chess table and stuff. We've got, I think, a bathroom down here on the first floor, and then what else do we have? There's one other room. Maybe I make it into like an office or something. I thought that would be kind of nice. And I wasn't trying to make this, because there's so many different layouts you can have when you add those additions on in Stardew Valley, so I was just kind of going with whatever floor plan I could come up with, and I just tried to make it look kind of rustic and like a farm, because there are different styles that you can choose from when you start adding furniture and stuff to your house on the interior. And then upstairs we do have a primary bedroom, and then we have a kids bedroom, which I actually added, I'm sorry, not kids, it's 2 toddlers, which I thought was cute, because in Stardew Valley you can have babies. They age up, I think, to toddlers. Is that what it is? And I think that's, I haven't played in a long time, and I know there's been a couple of really big updates. I don't know if these kinds of things have changed. Can your kids age past like toddlerhood? in Stardew Valley? I don't remember anymore. I don't know. So you're gonna have to let me know because I do not recall. But yeah, there's 2 toddler beds up there. So I thought that was kind of nice as well. I've been doing a lot of kids rooms lately, a lot of teen rooms actually lately too. So I thought having a little toddler room, because I always end up doing infants in lieu of toddlers, was a nice change of pace. But I really liked this interior. I did use this wallpaper from base game in a couple of different swatches throughout the build. And of course, as always, Horse Ranch was coming in clutch for this build. And a lot of cats and dogs. I used this bookcase from Cats and Dogs a handful of times. We of course have the high-backed armchair from Cats and Dogs, which I love so much. And there are only a couple things that I added to the interior that are really nods to the game. So like I've got just like the older little TV in the corner of the living room, for example, because you need to look if you're gonna have good or bad karma that day. It's important. You also got to check the weather, because if it's raining, you do not have to water those plants, and we all love that. And then I also added, of course, the kitchen and a full dining table, which was nice that I was able to fit in here in the kitchen. So it's a kitchen and dining combined, which was really nice. I don't always have the opportunity to have a full dining table in there like that. I think I do. Okay, I say full dining table. I think I do bring it. Do I make it a 6-seater? No, actually I don't think I do. No, I don't think I actually ended up doing that. I thought I tried it at one point, but I didn't stick with it, so it worked. But yeah, then we use these Horse Ranch countertops and cabinets, this fridge from Cottage Living, because I love it. I love that fridge. And one of the other nods, I think, to the game as well, that I ended up including, oh, what was it? Now I'm forgetting everything. I don't know. Again, I did my best, right? I think it fits the aesthetic and kind of the vibe of the entire lot. But again, I wasn't going to build it to everything in the game. But yeah, you walk right into the kitchen and dining, which I don't think is super unusual. I thought it was kind of nice. And again, we have the 2 pet bowls that I end up putting in here. We have the side table as well, some artwork and stuff. And I think I add an island, but I use these 2 appliance carts that came with, well, the appliance cart that came with Adventure Awaits, just because appliances will actually slot to it, and they're a little bit more of space savers than just countertops. So I have the blender, we have a microwave, a coffee pot, and that leaves, I think I only leave 1 countertop open for your Sims to cook. So if you do have more than 1 Sim on this lot, if you do have a family that adds up to those 2 toddlers, you will probably have to clear off one of the other countertops to be able to use the cook together feature if that is something that you want to do. I don't end up keeping that little, yeah, I got rid of it right there, that little wine rack. I ditched that really fast because I realized that was all going to be downstairs, and I did not have to take up a counter space to be able to put that there. I didn't think that was going to be, it wasn't going to make a lot of sense, so I got rid of it. And yeah, we just add a couple of decorations here, just cluttering up the kitchen, and then I decorate these little hallways. I completely overlooked the fact that we got a new wood-burning stove from Adventure Awaits, so I ended up using that in a couple of rooms. See, that's what I would have anticipated with Cottage Living. I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe I'm off base, okay? Maybe I'm off base. I love the fireplaces we got with Cottage Living, but I was absolutely expecting like a wood burning stove like that. And I think the first one we got was with Horse Ranch, and I love that one. And then we got this one in Adventure Awaits, so I like it. Glad we have it. Something I would have anticipated maybe a little bit earlier in the game. So yeah. But yeah, there's not much in these hallways. They were kind of difficult for me to decorate because I just didn't want to fill it with a bunch of nonsense, but I ended up adding, again, the standing piano here. We have another high back armchair, the chess table. I think I end up putting the gemology, is that what it is? The gemology table thing, desk, into the office space that I end up making. I was originally thinking it was going to be a bedroom, but I turned it into an office. And then I think I added a dollhouse as well in here for the toddlers. And it's the one from Horse Ranch, so it's like the little farmhouse, because that's perfect, right? Because it's perfect. And I add a couple of decorations on top of the piano as well. Now that bookcase, I know it's not accessible next to the piano, but I thought it was kind of realistic looking. Maybe it's just me, but I absolutely have furniture that blocks like my bookcase, which seems counterproductive and counterintuitive, but it's true. I do, and I still reach over things to try to get books off that shelf. Does it make sense? No, but it's reality. It's what it is. Now down here, I do just add one of these little nectar making station things because I didn't want to clutter it up with too many of them, but I did add all of these barrels for show of things that, you know, are allegedly aging, but I added tons of these racks. Tons. I mean, you could probably get possibly hundreds of bottles of nectar aging down here. Could you imagine how much money you could make over time? It would be insane. It would be nuts. And I didn't really decorate the cellar either. I really didn't think I had to. There wasn't really much to put down there, but I do just put a bench and a piece of artwork in that hallway, which leads to the door to the cellar. And then in here again is going to be an office space. And not only did I use the gemology table, but I added a pottery wheel because weeks and weeks and weeks ago, I built this weeks ago. It was up on the channel maybe only a week or two ago. I don't know. But I did an autumnal like Generations Cottage in Henford on Bagley, and I had posted an image on for my members on the post tab. I keep wanting to say the community tab. And I asked my members like what I should be putting in there, and someone said the pottery wheel, and it just didn't work for that particular build in my opinion. But for this one, I was thrilled. I was very excited to be able to finally add the pottery wheel to something. So we have the gemology table, the pottery wheel, you know, we've got like an armchair, some places to kind of relax a little bit, because I think we have another wood burning stove in here. And then just another bookcase. There really isn't too much going on. And I also, yes, I'm quite proud, I remembered to add a chair to the pottery wheel. Look at me go. Because when I built my very first build, which was like a pottery and tattoo studio with an apartment upstairs with businesses and hobbies, I didn't add chairs to any of the pottery wheels, which was a major oversight in my personal opinion. It was huge. I didn't know at the time. I had no idea. I didn't know that you needed chairs there. I figured it was one of those things where like your Sims could either stand doing it or like a chair would pop up when they started using it. Maybe that's a silly thought, but that's what I thought. Anyway, we're going on to the upstairs. So again, it's the primary bedroom and the toddler room up here and a full bathroom, a pretty decent sized full bathroom too. And can I just say that this primary bedroom, I love this bedroom. It's very green, which it's not my favorite color, but it's not bad. I love how this bedroom came out. I really do. I love this rug from Adventure Awaits, the bed as well. Again, worked really well with Horse Ranch, and these curtains from Cats and Dogs, that beautiful wreath decoration that we have from Laundry Day. We've got a dresser over here as well as a standing mirror, and then I add a big fireplace like the one downstairs from the living room. I add that up here too. We also have that ottoman from Adventure Awaits that has like all of the cut up wood, and I don't know if it's meant to be just decoration or if it's actually for wood storage, but I loved it. So I added that as well as another high back chair in the green swatch, and I added a piece of artwork on the mantle over the fireplace, which I thought was really nice too. It's this one from Cottage Living, and it's very green because it's cheap in a field. It tied together, in my opinion, really nicely, and this is probably my favorite room in the house. It really is. I really like the primary bedroom, and it's actually the room I probably struggled with the most initially because it was a pretty decent sized primary bedroom. I don't usually make bedrooms that big, and this one was pretty big. I didn't really know what to do with it, but I found a way to make it work. As per usual, at least I think I did. You'll have to let me know. And then I really like the toddler bedroom as well. That probably goes without saying. I was gonna try to put in a crib and a toddler bed, and I was like, no, just do a toddler room. You've done infant nurseries recently, have it be 2 toddlers, and of course it's very nature themed. So we have these little beds from Enchanted by Nature, and then this rug from Outdoor Retreat that I always forget about, though I did size it up probably a significant amount because I think it's just like an entryway rug for like your front door or something, but I decided to size it up because it fits the theme perfectly. We have this dresser from Cottage Living, and then we've got, I think I had like a toy box in here, one of those big stuffy Bigfoots, because that's my favorite little stuffy that we have in The Sims, honestly. I also added one of the imaginary friends, though I don't believe your toddlers can do much with those quite yet. I think only your kid Sims can do anything with those. We have the little height chart, and I was going to add that bookcase from Enchanted by Nature, but the thing is too big, okay? It wasn't going to work. So I add this little one instead from Base Game, some 2 little armchairs for the toddlers, some toddler blocks, all that fun stuff, and some wall decals too, just to kind of add some decoration, as well as some string lights, which I've been using so much of. I've been using them so often, but that is pretty much it for this build. I hope you all enjoyed this one. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.